Hello and welcome back to part 3 of an unforgettable Land Rover camping experience on the Isle of Skye. In the last video, we finally collected our Land Rover Defender and made our way across Scotland to Skye, taking in the beautiful Scottish scenery along the way before finding a spot to camp for the night. Today we'll be up at the crack of dawn to go for a swim in the crystal clear waters of the fairy pools, before braving the Scottish weather at Neist Point Lighthouse.
Good morning. It's 6 AM. The break of dawn, and we're getting up super early to head to the fairy pools to try and see if we can have the whole place to ourselves for 5 minutes.
You're right.
Or at least beat the clouds. It was a very windy, blustery and rainy night. I don't think I slept a wink at all.
You've nothing to say for yourself.
The sun had just begun to peek over the tips of the rugged mountains in the distance, casting a magical light on the scene. The fairy pools are a collection of enchanting rock pools filled with translucent mountain spring water with a bluish hue, nourished by a series of cascading waterfalls. With the entire place to ourselves, we couldn't resist taking a dip in the inviting yet refreshingly chilly waters. It was nothing short of breathtaking. Literally. What made it even more enchanting was that we only encountered one other couple who were heading back to the car park. And of course, Benji had a blast swimming in the clear waters as well. It was definitely worth waking up at the crack of dawn for this experience. Well, that was exhilarating, wasn't it? You can't come up to the Highlands and not do a little bit of wild swimming, or at least a wild dip in the chilly waters. Are you okay, Labrador? Did you enjoy the fairy pools?
Yes.
Welcome back. So that's us just left the fairy pools. What did you think?
Yeah, it was really nice.
It was pretty spectacular, wasn't it? I'm so pleased we left. I was so pleased we woke up at 6 AM and left for fairy pools at 7 AM because we had the whole place to ourselves. We managed to brave the chilly waters and go for a dip in the crystal clear blue water of the fairy pools. So that was certainly invigorating, wasn't it? To say the least. It's a little bit drizzly here now, but not too bad. It was actually forecast quite heavy rain for this morning, so we're lucky that our visit to the fairy pools was relatively well. It was dry. It started drizzly rain when we were heading back to the car park. So yeah, tip: if you plan on visiting the ferry pools, try and get there as early in the morning as possible, like sunrise early.
Well, we've just left and it's now 10:30. I'd say the car park's probably 3/4 full.
Yeah, it's starting to get quite busy now. But anyway, so we're now trying to navigate the single track lanes with the passing places, and plenty of tourists who don't quite understand how the passing places work on the British roads. Anyway, we're now heading further north on the island to, I believe it's pronounced Neist Point Lighthouse. See you there. It's a little bit blowy.
A little bit.
Unfortunately, our visit coincided with the worst weather day of our entire trip. Despite the challenging conditions, fierce winds and sideways rain, we braved the elements to embark on the approximately 40-minute trail to the lighthouse from the car park. The lighthouse first illuminated in 1909 and relied on an aerial cableway to transport supplies to the lighthouse and its cottage. Since 1990, the lighthouse, now classified as a Category B listed building, has been operated remotely from the Northern Lighthouse Board headquarters in Edinburgh. The former keepers' cottages are now privately owned. There were moments when I seriously contemplated turning back, due to the ferocity of the wind and rain on this exposed high terrain with steep cliffs. But we were already soaked through and we were already halfway there, so we soldiered on. However, for us, it felt more like a major accomplishment just to make it in such terrible weather. The three of us returned to the Land Rover completely drenched, sharing a laugh about the experience, and then cranked up the heat to try and dry off.
So
My face. This
I
is all.
know. Here we are. We've arrived at Portree Campsite, slightly ahead of time after cutting our day rather short and missing out quite a few things that were on our itinerary due to the fantastic British summer weather.
It's been awful.
It was just horrendous. We just could not take any more gale force winds with sideways rain. So we've kind of rescheduled our itinerary slightly in our plans and arrived at the campsite earlier than initially planned. We're going to go and get a much needed shower and warm up and sort ourselves out before heading into Portree to see if we can find somewhere to go for food. It's quite busy at this time of the year and it's almost near impossible to be able to book a table in a restaurant or a bar or anything. It's a case of turn up, and if you're lucky enough to get a table, then brilliant. But we've tried 3 times and been unsuccessful.
Yeah, they don't well, they don't do bookings online.
They don't like booking. It's a case of turn up and try your luck. So I have a feeling it maybe grab a takeaway and bring it back to the Land Rover.
It's alright, I love my Land Rover.
And I love takeaways, so everyone's a winner. But yeah, we're away to go and get freshened up, and we'll check back in later. Bye bye for now. Good evening. So we've now settled down in our plot at Portree Campsite for the evening. We're actually just sitting in the cab of the Land Rover at the moment, having a couple of drinks, rather than sitting in the tent on the roof. Just because it's more comfortable sitting upright and having a couple of drinks than laying down. And we went for the most tasty meal at Isles of Inn, pub restaurant in Portree. Quite busy. We have to wait a little while to get seated, but that's fine. We just went to the bar and ordered a couple of drinks, and yeah, it's just been, despite the atrocious weather earlier on, it was quite a decent end to the day. And as I said earlier on, things that we had planned, that we had on our itinerary, that we were meant to do today, we can just juggle things around and do those tomorrow. So not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
And Portree Campsite itself is quite a nice little campsite, isn't it?
It is. Allow dogs.
Yeah, I mean, basic but clean facilities, toilets, showers. They allow dogs, and it's quite a small campsite compared to some of the others I've been to. Some other campsites, not in Skye, but just campsites in general, sometimes it feels as though the plots are quite tight, and they try and cram as many guests in as they possibly can to maximize profits. That's how it feels sometimes, but here it doesn't actually feel that is the case. The plots seem to be, a little bit more spread out. It's a little bit more intimate, as in there aren't,
it's not huge, is it?
Yeah, there aren't hundreds of motorhomes and tents stretching as far as the eye can see.
I think there's 60 plots in total for camper vans and stuff.
Yeah. So
Closes at 10 p.m. though. If you get here any later, the gates are shut, and then it opens again at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So that's something to be aware of.
Yeah. So we're just going to enjoy
Glass of Ribena.
And one or two beers, and hit the sack before our very busy day tomorrow. Alright, see you all later. Good night.
And that brings us to the end of day 3. Shorter than planned due to the weather, but in the next video, part 4, we will continue our exploration of Skye in our Land Rover Defender, including a boat trip to spot wildlife, looking for dinosaur footprints on a beach, and taking in more of the breathtaking scenery that Skye has to offer. Thank you so much for following along on our adventure, and please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.